Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Thursday, December the 1st. And starting with the SP 500 here, and then we're going to have a look at the US dollar as well. And the Feds have made just some general sort of comments on the state of the economy and how they're going to sort of handle that. And even though this week is full of announcements, the ADP figures, and that will lead into the NFP figures, so on. But this is probably the most important announcement when Powell speaks. So, and he has spoken, and we have seen the market move up. So with the S&P 500 here, as you know, we were looking at it in two different ways. I won't go into a lot of detail on this one at the moment because we'll do that in the next video once I finish this one. But it does, obviously, as you can see here, that it has pushed up higher. This is the S&P futures actually, so we've been looking at it in two ways. We've been looking at it as wave one to the downside, and then retesting the 61.8% for, well, basically roughly once it finished coming down here in 5 waves, and then looking for that retest of around the 4,000 mark. But we've certainly blown through that. Technically, it's still okay. We could actually put that just here, as long as it doesn't take out that top. That's the Elliott thing. But obviously, I can see other markets that need to go up further. So I can imagine this market going up further, and we will need to look at this wave 5 and remove this one. And then look at this as the wave 3 here with the A, the B, and the C here, which kind of suits this particular pattern here. Suits Google, Alphabet, Microsoft, sort of in that batch of patterns really. So I think that's sort of interesting. Anyway, that's sort of where we're looking at, what's where we need to look at the moment. I'm just going to I'll just leave these because I need to repeat what I said in the next video as well. But the other thing here that I need to sort of say is that the length of wave 1 here roughly will be roughly the length of this one here. So as I mentioned some time ago, that the 4-1 was really the main resistance at this point. And there was some option sitting there as well that would give us the resistance, and also give us a classic trading levels pattern as well, because we'll have the arrival here. All of this is the arrival. This is the reaction, sideways movement across here. Normally it pulls down a bit further, but it's just traveled sideways, which means that the market is strong, by the way, you know, because when a market moves up and it pulls back, it is what it is at that point. But I know that when a market travels sideways here, it doesn't want to go down, you know. That's basically what we're seeing here in that sense. But at the end of the day, we should see some type of pullback here at some point, and depending on how we count this to the upside. And the next step would be to be bullish above this one here. But anyway, we'll talk more about this a little bit later. But the other important point, which I feel is a little bit more important actually, is the US dollar, the basket here, the Dixie, whatever you folks call it. So as you may know, I won't go into a lot of detail, but basically we've been tracking 5 waves down here as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and as I mentioned, we need to put that back over here for a moment. We didn't really make a new low here, so because we didn't make a new low here, and we could count 5 waves here, because I could say, you know, that the wave 4 needs to be more complicated and travel sideways more. And there was another way to look at it as well, by looking at this move down here as 5 waves, as 1 and 2 here, and then looking at all of this as 3. But anyway, what sort of happened now is that there's a slight bias, not totally just yet. It could be that this wave 4 is going to travel sideways here further, as such, But what I did want to say is we did count 5 waves up here on the 100 tick chart, and yeah, so I could probably put that over here, not that it's a big deal at this point, but it does appear that we've got a corrective pattern here, because this move that came down here has just taken out the low here. So we could look at it as the A wave here, and A, B, and C for the B wave, and up for the C wave. We're kind of in our target area here for, so basically this wave 4 here, extending this down to wave 1 and 2 here, and then looking at this as 1 and 2 to come back and then go down to wave 3, 4, and 5. Now the important thing about this is, while this is going down, then the stock market and well, indices will go up, as with you know, the pound and the euro, the Aussie, and all the other pairs, you know. So yeah, this is quite significant. This is a bit of a telltale sign. And even if it's not, even if I don't have this as 1 and 2 here, right, and then 1, 2 coming down here for wave 2 to 3 down here, because wave 3 from 2 to 3 needs to be longer than this one here. It doesn't have to, as long as wave 5 is shorter, I guess. So we've either got that, or we got some sort of complicated correction in here as well. So I can't rule out that case where we bring this wave 4 over here and look at this whole correction here, because it didn't take out that low here. So we could still be in it, you know. And if we're still, if this is the case, and we're going to come down in the 3rd wave here, then I'm thinking that we're not going to really stop here. We're going to kind of keep building up from here, you know, and this accumulation process, this distance across here to this point to that point, we'll definitely see that play out much further up here. So if this is going to be a wave 3 down here, then this is going to push up much higher. If this is going to play silly buggers in here as a more complex wave 4 here, well, then what we're going to see over here is we're going to see over here more price action around this number here. You know, we're going to see all sorts of stuff here. You know, it'll be more complicated here, and just stick to this number. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how we work this out here. So once we get this 5 waves finished here, then we'll watch the retest here, and we'll come down again. I mean, let me just I just got to mull things over until the penny drops. So we're at the 61.8% here at the moment. So that's it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So that's good. So we've probably got that in play here. Because we've got 5 waves to the 61.8%, that means we can look at you know, that we don't need those over there now. We can use this here. So it's coming a little bit likely that we'll be seeing this come down here. Where did I have a wave 4? What did I do with that? I'll lose it. Oh, there it is. Didn't come all the way. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah, because I mean, if it only had 3 waves down to this point, then it could get complicated and go back up here, you know. Anyway, well, it'll take a session to know that, and that will give us time anyway. So basically, and even if this comes over here as wave 4, that's still got to come down here further at some point as well. So that's this basically making stocks bullish. By this coming down further is making stocks bullish. Okay, so that's that. So we need to sort of understanding that a little bit. We need to readjust some of these markets a little bit. So with Apple here, the move, the reality is the move down here so far, we've had it as wave 1 and 2, and then I had it as wave 1 here. We were expecting a bounce off here yesterday, remember that? So we were looking for this wave 2 to come back. So it's done everything nicely. It's come back into the box. But I'm a little bit sort of scared now that if this is going to come down further, we're going to see stocks push up. So I put this A wave and B wave here and C wave here. So I'll still need this particular pattern to the upside's not finished. And look, I could look at it as wave A and B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and sit up here. So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm just going to have to be a little bit more careful here. I'll need to let this finish off here, and what I'll be looking for, I'll be looking for either 3 waves up or 5 waves up. And if we get 5 waves up here, right, might cover that gap. I didn't notice that. If we get 5 waves up here at some point somewhere, then we're going to have a 3-wave counter trend, aren't we? You know, and it may be that we're doing this at the 150. We don't know yet. You know, we may end up working here. But whatever the case, if we do get 5 waves up here, and we'll look at that in a bit of detail later on, then we can go long at that point. If we only get 3 waves up, well, then we'll start looking for short trades at that point. So now that the US dollar can move down there further, we might need to view this in a in a different way. So instead of having wave 2 up there, we may need to be looking at wave 1 up there now and looking at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here. It's kind of okay, really, because if we are bullish here, for example, then yeah, getting support on the 150 here, we can look to add through all of this, and we can be in a bullish run at this point. I don't know if that's the case yet. We've just got to kind of be a little bit sort of patient with this, but yeah, just sort of shooting the breeze a little bit. So yeah, I'll leave that at that. I did mention that folks can buy it on the 140 or down here. So if you've done that, then getting up to, see, basically now we're at 140, 146. So the next number, the important numbers up here from 40 to 50 is 41, 42, 43, then 45, and then 48. When you're talking 48, you're talking group 2, aren't you? So we could go 147.20 and we could go 146.50. So it's going to be banging its head at 146.50. So that's the lower end of group 2 there. So it's not going to hurt to take some money off, some money, you know, a good percentage off, in that 146.50 to 148 area, because that's where the market's going to stall. Alrighty, let's move along. So Nvidia here, I think this is how we left it yesterday, so I haven't adjusted this one. This has been a bit of a tricky count all in through here for this, but obviously this top's going to be taken out, so, you know, and I could go and put wave 2 here, but the reason I wouldn't want to do that, I could, and we could just leave it for today. But the thing is that it's quite a big wave 2 as an A, B, and C. Excuse me. Compared to this move here, do you know? It's possible we could get 5 waves here, stay under that, and then come down at that point. I did have this somewhere else, actually. Was it 10,000 ticks or 1 day? Let's just go. Just want to go to the bigger picture here for a bit. What's the daisy? Yeah, this was one of the counts that I had here. I mean, we've looked at and talked about this before in that, yeah, it just counts better down as 5 waves down. So sort of looking at it as an A and a B and a C wave up here for that. It still doesn't help me with that. We're on 10K there. So let me just check on that. I would have looked at more of a bullish count knowing me. Yeah, right, okay. So, okay. So I haven't got time to go in and check all of that, but I could see probably the reason I've labelled that wave 1 here and 2 here and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the 3rd wave and a 4th wave here is simply because all of that is really part of the same family. Do you know what I mean? You can kind of see it's all like you've got this block here, then you've got this block here. So it's all the same family. Do you know what I mean? It's in the same sequence. This is jumping out of the sequence at this point and stepping up at this point. So yeah, so in this case, it's probably wave 1 and 2 here, and looking at 3, 4, and 5 up here. I don't know that just yet, but what we could do, is this little move up here. If we get 5 waves up here, just like I mentioned with Apple, if we get 5 waves up here, and be the same with the S&P and all the rest of them, if we get 5 waves up here, then we'll look to buy the pullback at that point. Okay, that's about the best I can do at that point, and then at least we can, you know, get further up there. Okay, so this is Amazon. We've had Amazon as wave 1 here, and then wave 2 over here, and then I was figuring we're going down here, but I've labelled this here as wave 1 and 2, as you know, and then we had this as 3. So I was looking for wave 5 to come down, but to be honest, we just didn't get it here. That's that was the low there. So with this wave 5 here, it's not really not there as such, so I'm just going to move that out of the way, and this is what I was looking for, just mapping things out a bit, but I just don't know if that's going to be the case there. We're past that 61.8% there anyway. So the reality here is I'm left with 1, 2, and 3 here, which really, I mean, until this is taken out the top here, but I'm left with 3 waves here. So going back to our original target over here as wave 2 over here is certainly possible at this point. I'll just mull this over and give it a bit of thought, but I would imagine that we need to come up to here. And we'll have to look at this as the A wave here, and the C wave over here for that, and the B wave here based on those 3 waves. So I'll need to put this, that's probably not even right, so I'll need to put this over to here. Let me just work this a little bit better. This 2 can go to here in some sort of expanded flat correction. We don't want that wave 3 there. That will be wave 4. This will be wave 5. That will be wave 3. Do I have a... Oh, I don't want that. No, that's wrong too, isn't it? Sorry. I need to drop it down another degree further, so I'll have to put this over here. Just keep this out of the way for a moment. And that needs to go up there. I just don't think that's finished yet. I've still got more to go over here for that. Be something like that. And this A wave can go here. I mean, this may not be the case. It could, I mean, technically for me to do this, it really needs to take out this high here or show me a better pattern, because I could look at this as the A, the B, and the C up here as well, and then come down. But I don't think we're going to, I don't think that's the case. I think there's a bit more of a run to come in this. But I could be wrong, and I might need to be changing this again, unfortunately. I know folks don't like me changing things, but don't need these here. I'll just leave that simple for the time being. So I think that's what we're looking at, but I can't prove that at the moment, but that's probably what we're up against. I'll just leave 3 and 5, and yeah, so that's probably what we're looking at. It might even be more bullish, actually. I mean, there was a count we had for a low in this, but I'll do some work on that. I'll need to do some work on some of these. With meta platforms here, as you may recall, I could put wave 4 here, but I was never really happy with it because it always counted better as an impulse wave, and we're starting to see that now. So I'm quite confident that we'll push up to here. We can short it under here, but that's a long way. We'll get a better position than that, and we don't need that. So we're kind of into that situation here now. And in fact, it could go further, you know, because this should really be here, you know. So we'll see how that goes at that point. And I don't know which is the actual low here. I think can I get 5 waves out of this? That looks like 5 waves. Can I do that? Yep. So I'm just going to put that here. That will give me a nice A, B, and C to this point. That'll also enable me to start working this to the upside. Now, I mean, obviously it could fail here. It needs to take out that top to validate this particular count. But I think that's okay at that point. And Netflix, we're also looking at this as well, a wave one up here, and we're looking back for a bigger ABC pattern. So we're looking at this as wave one here, and then an ABC pattern going back up, and it's kind of where we want it to be, but look, it's probably going to continue further. I'll have to figure out what this spike is to understand this, but we should see some sort of consolidation across here. So if we can see a setup with this, yeah, so I might need to be looking at this a bit different as a bullish case as well here, and looking at this here as an A wave here, and then a B wave here, and a C wave here. We'll see. I'll mull that over and give that a bit of thought. Because if we get, normally what we see, normally when the market doesn't stop at a level here, all right, then I can still see it needs to go up here too by the looks of it. But normally when it doesn't stop here, so if it just blasts straight through here, then it'll sort of do this here again with it at that point. It's basically the overshoot pattern, which is like this. It doesn't stop at the level like we normally expect, but the distance it goes above is normally the distance it swings below. So we'll just wait to see how that plays out. And what that will do, that will give us a high point either here or a little bit higher, and that will be, we can use that as our first reference point to go long on, or our second reference point to go long on as well. And Enphase here, so this puts Enphase back on the map again. So we did, I exited these because I didn't want to. I could see the markets being bearish, but obviously I'm wrong, and so we got out of these, but at least we got out at break even or a profit. That's good. But it does look like we can move up further. It's not like the pattern, it's not like this pattern here is broken, because let's just go in and have a look at it. I did look at it a little bit earlier, but it has moved up since that. So I was looking at, don't worry too much about at the moment, this is 3, 4, 5 here, and that's still valid, by the way. But the thing is that from this wave 1 here, we're looking for an A and a B and a C for wave 2, then 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. So we had wave 1 here, and I was looking for wave 2 to come back, and it seems to be sitting there. It's come down a long way. It's come down like 90%, but we could look at it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then down for 5. So 5 waves for the A wave, the little B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave for wave 2. So the whole pattern still exists. I just freaked out. So apologies for me getting scared. The next step in the process would be looking at this, say if we wanted to go, because if we want to go long, we need 1, 2, 3, so we'll need wave 4 to come in, and then we'll need wave 5 to come in here. And if we got 5 waves, then we know that we're going to get a little ABC correction coming back. I've probably drawn it too big here, but if we get 5 waves here, then this becomes the long trade here again, and we'll start building in again, and we'll build on the same pattern here as well. So we want the first high above the level as such, and yeah. So it's likely when it builds on here, it's got all these tops here will now become the support at 320. So that means that we need to keep our stop under the 320. So if this gets triggered here, for instance, then that's just going to move up to there. So once that gets triggered, the stop can go to there, and we shouldn't have to deal with that. I think we could leave it there at that point, unless we get a larger 5 waves up to this point and then come back again at that point. Then I'll adjust it a little bit. But yeah, so probably between 10 and 20, the strongest number is 5, right? So you don't want to put the stop at 5, and you don't want to put your stop at 4, because it can poke around in the market depth until orders get filled. So then, you know, the 4th strongest number in the market is 3, so that's 13. So so we can drop it into 2 at this point. So you either put it at 312, or then you've got to come under the 10 at that point. And we don't put stops at 9 or 8, because 8 is the 3rd strongest number. You can put it at 7, that always works quite well, but you'll get much better results at 6. So we're either at 1312, or we are at 306. And then if you have to go lower, you don't put it at 5, you'll have to go down to 2 again. So that's sort of it on the long side. 6 and 2 on the long side, and you'll get a lot better results. It's a very fine-tuning thing. It's not perfect, but it would be probably better than what you're doing at the moment. Anyway, that's that. So let's see if we get those 5 waves. I mean, it looks like we've got 3 waves here. I mean, we could probably look at that as 5 waves, I guess. I suppose we could go 1, 2, maybe 4 in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. If we get 5 waves here, then we've got the green light. If we don't get 5 waves, we've got Jack. Tesla. So with Tesla here, well, basically we're looking for further upside, and we're sort of getting that now, I guess. So because we counted up for 5 waves yesterday, just ignored that spike there, didn't I? So I went, but anyway, long story, don't need to go over that. So the point here now is that we're looking for 5 waves to the upside. I don't know if that's wave 3 here just yet, but certainly wave 3 when they break out of the trend channel like that. So I'll just put wave 3 up here. It's a little bit short so far, and then we can put wave 4 here, and we can put wave 5 up at the 200 at this point. We'll talk about the bigger picture, and can this be more bullish? Can we look at this as wave 1 here? It is possible in the bigger picture, but I won't look at that today. We'll look at that a little bit later. So you can trade up to 200 if you wish to do that. Google here, this is the kind of bedrock of it all, really. And the same with Microsoft as well. So we've been looking at this as this particular pattern here for this one, and also for Microsoft as well. We've been looking at them as wave 4s, but we also consider them being wave 1s as well down here. So basically with Google here, we're thinking as wave A, B, and C for wave 4, and then going up for wave 5, but also considering this wave 1 here, and then going back for wave 2 here. So that means we could short down here, but obviously we've taken the top out here, so we don't even need to go there now. But we need to, this is probably the length of wave 1 roughly, yes. So we can expect this market to come into 101, 102, 103, into that space. So in a nutshell, what we're looking for here to turn bullish, the next leg bullish, is we need these 5 waves up here, and then we can go long above that top. As simple as that. Then we can wipe out that wave 2 here. And we can look at a more bullish pattern at that point as well, because we'll use a classic trading levels pattern on the 100. But you know, we need to be a bit mindful, because a lot of the time when the Fed say things, you know, you'll see this rally and then you'll see the rally fade. You know, it could be a day later, could be on the day, it could be the next day or the following day. So they are kind of turning points a little bit, and you know, they're still going to hold rates high, and they're going to put them up, and they're going to hold them there. So I didn't quite get in the conversation because I was working at the same time if they were going to move it at 50 or 75. Microsoft's the same as well. So yeah, we'll look for. It's not going to go very far. It's not, if you, I would never buy it just here for this, because it's not going to go far from large numbers like this, and we're going to definitely see some type of pattern. It could go to 56 or something, but yeah, so there's no need to rush into this just yet. We'll wait for the right setup. And Berkshire Hathaway here, that does look rather impulsive here. I did have a bit of a closer look at this here, and I wasn't sure how to count this here, so I'm just going to leave it to see. But I can see that, I was thinking that, can this be counted as 1, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, and 5 here? Or can it be counted as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here? I looked inside it, and I could. There's a few things in there that I couldn't quite pull together. I could see some of it, but I couldn't really come up with an answer. But it is interesting that this here is sort of, it's not 5 waves yet, but it's looking quite good as 5 waves. So we'll do that the same as what we do with the S&P, and that, as I explained. If we move up here and we do get 5 waves up here, then we're going to get some sort of counter trend at some point, right? So an impulse wave and a corrective wave, and then we can look to go long here, and then I can adjust things in here. But I was quite happy with the count, except for this bit down here. So this wave 1 here was good, and 2 was good, but should we be looking at this as wave 1 and 2 in here? That was the thing. So that's where an extra leg can come from up here. But we won't go into that until we need to. But we'll look for the long trade setup if that's going to be the case. Yeah, so that's where that is. And block here, we were looking yesterday at this being an A wave and a B wave and a target up there, so that's really arrived there pretty damn quick. So in this case, I've still got this 5 waves down here, so that's a pretty good case for 5 waves, I have to say. I can see every little wave structure, so I'm okay with this. I'll have to sort this out a bit. I can't see quite. I can see that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see that's 1 and 2. I suppose I could put that over here a little bit further. But anyway, I'll sort this out. There's not a biggie. And wave 5 up here for wave C of 2 at this point. So from the 60, we're really looking at the 70 here for that. It's not worth trading into that space here either for this. Okay, the banks. So I do have a nice A wave, B wave, and C wave here. Now it could be viewed as wave 1 down, back for wave 2, and then down again for wave 1. So the thing here is that if this low is breached, then you got yourself a short trade. Otherwise, we're going to be looking up at, coming up here further, taking this top out here and completing this particular structure here. This would just be wave 1 at this point. So perhaps tomorrow we can have a bit of a squizzy in here and have a look to see if it pulls back at that point. Once that bar's finished here, you could probably go long at that point too. And the reason I say that for is because from this top to this low here will be above the 61.8%, but also check too to see if this bar's on stronger volume, on more volume, This is a CFD platform here, but the the trouble with CFDs, because CFD providers need to make their own market at times, the volume may not ring true as such, but it has increased over the previous bar. That's the important point here. So the buyers are back in control at this point on that bar. to say this is pulled down quite a lot here for this, so that's quite good as well. Bit of a spring, so I think that is the way for. That means that should head higher. You can find your own way in there anyway, but yeah, so that should be all right. And well, Morgan's here. We're looking at wave 4 here. So I suppose we'll just have to look at this continuing to the upside into 140 for JP. And that will put Goldman's up further into 400. So that will push up into here. So with these, I mean, Goldman has moved up really high, right? Where the other banks have barely reached there. This one has just reached its 50%, and BAC still hasn't even reached its 50%. So we need to be a little bit careful about this. But if this is going to be the leading situation, because in the bigger scheme of things, we've either got this down here as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here for wave 2. Or wave 4, and we're done and dusted, and we're in a bullish market at this point, and we can look at this as 1 and 2 here, or we've got this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, and once this finishes here and we come down to that point. So the way that I'd sort of handle this is that if we just use this number here and we just look for this pattern at that number, if that's the 400 here, we just got to wait for over here. And then that gets us out of trouble at that point. So we're really waiting for the first high above the level, and hopefully we can get a second high above the level, and anything above that, then we've got ourselves the next long trade at that point. It's that simple. If we don't get that, we don't go long. I mean, that's what I love about this. It just makes it so simple, ties it in nicely. You know, it's like this over here. We'll have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. So that becomes our entry point, and we wait for that. If we can get a second high like this one, then we could use that. But I really like it to be part of the same sort of structure. It is a little bit there, but not as much. But that type of thing over here, anyway, that will solve our problem at this point. Alrighty, well that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.